Good morning, folks. I thought I should do a follow-up after the video of the other day. I'm noticing that even among people whose opinions may be closer to mine, there's still several misunderstandings about how the rule of law applies in our current situation, and the fact that the political class can't really be the solution to the problem, to the crisis we're facing. When the issue is a legal issue, which it is, legality, restoring legality, is the only resolution to this problem. And I'll explain why. Even among the conservatives with whom I often speak with, and classical liberals, whom perhaps philosophically I'm more closely associated with, there's still an us versus them mentality that doesn't serve our position well, and it doesn't serve to enlighten discourse. Screaming out of your own trench at the enemy will have no effect whatsoever in changing opinions. Engaging people in intellectual discussion and sticking to the facts and avoiding ad hominem arguments and logical fallacies can, however, serve to further advance our position that individual liberty and accountability is indeed our inheritance, and it needs to be protected under the law. Today, the prevalent ideology of the postmodern left has rejected reason itself in favor of identity politics. Please note that all forms of social collectivism use it in one form or another. To the National Socialist, it was the Uber Mensch against what they deemed to be inferior races. To the Marxists, it was the proletariat against the bourgeoisie. To the Cultural Marxist, to the Postmodernist, it is the intersectionally downtrodden against what they view as a dominant societal patriarchy. Particularly the intersectionally oppressed, where if you're oppressed in many different categories, in many different ways by what they perceive oppression to be, that you rise up the rungs of the ladder of entitlement to have the government interfere on your behalf to restore what they deem to be, well, they always call it equity, don't they? It has nothing to do with equality, which can be only protected under the law. It has to do with what they deem equity. All versions of social collectivism reject the greatest philosophical inheritance of the Anglo-Sphere, the belief that all, no matter who we are and what our personal situation may be, what our personal characteristics are, that all must be treated equally under the law. It's the very reason that Lady Justice wears a blindfold. In the name of equity, our current political elite have removed her blindfold, thereby ensuring tyranny. The prevalence of identity politics today is proof our young people are being indoctrinated by cultural Marxists, postmodernists, who have been placed in our school system to undermine the very underpinning substructure of our society, namely the belief in the sovereign individual endowed with inalienable rights and responsible for their own actions. The inevitable result of this assault on the rule of law has been the creation of a society where the rules have become arbitrary. That's why you don't know what to do today. Under this current crisis with COVID-19, or as I like to call it, the CCP virus, there are so many contradictory rules that it is almost impossible to follow them. And people are being fined arbitrarily because the rules themselves can't be evenly applied. Different rules apply to different groups of people for different reasons at different times under differing circumstances. No one knows exactly what is expected of them. And to add insult to injury, the rules made by the political elite don't seem to apply to the elite. And worse yet, any of us who question their motives are labeled as uncooperative and a threat to a cohesive social order. Even Doug Ford has gone down this rabbit hole. We spoke the other day about how no government in the history of Canada has essentially brought about a situation where there's martial law when the Parliament hasn't declared such. It just randomly suspended habeas corpus. It suspended our inherent rights to be at liberty and curtails our every activity. Of course, all for our own good. Whenever the state tells you that they're going to rob you of what is inalienably yours, and that they're doing it for your good, you're neither going to be safe nor receive any good benefit from it. This is illegal. Identity politics is simply another way for society to return to tribalism. It's how we evolved as a species. Human beings are social creatures who have lived in tribes since the history of humanity began. This us versus them nature of our inherent prejudices ensures that without an overriding principle to ensure equal treatment before the law, we will once again descend into tribal conflict, which is what we're seeing. This nation has never been so divided. Educate yourself, please. The rule of law is under attack from the people we have elected to defend it. Identity politics is therefore the negation of the liberal Enlightenment ideal that the individual matters more than the group or groups to which they belong. To the social collectivist, the very notion of the sovereign individual endowed with inherent rights is anathema. That's why Trudeau attacks this at every opportunity and with every stroke of his pen. There is only structural inequality. They believe that there is only structural inequality that the state must resolve by robbing the individual of his rights and property. It is a complete rejection of the constitutionalism which came out of the Age of Enlightenment, which protect each person from the overreach of the collective. Identity politics ignores how easily an unlimited democracy can result in a collective tyranny. And that's what we have this very moment. The problem is legal. You need to speak to your members of parliament about it and insist that they stop exceeding their legal mandate to govern. Have a great day, folks. Don't bother washing your hands. Ain't going to help anyway. And the mask, that's just your sign of oppression.